Morning, everyone. Dan Spots on behalf of the Dallas Area Chamber of Commerce Community Affairs. Today is Thursday, November 6th, and our guest this morning, Matt Fitzpatrick with the Early Learning and the GED program, pre-college is the term I was trying to remember, at the Columbia Gorge Community College. And before I turn it over to Matt, I'm going to go around the room and ask for updates, organizational updates. Identify yourself and organizational updates, and then we'll have some announcements at the end of the meeting. But I'm going to start with Trish Neal.
Good morning. I'm Trish Neal with Legal Shield, and I do have, I'm looking for someone who could join my team if you know of anybody looking for a full-time or part-time work, and all my information is on the job page on the Chamber's website.
All right. Thank you, Trish. Commissioner Brady.
Good morning, Phil Brady, Wasco County Commissioner. There are a couple meetings coming up today, two meetings. Today is Housing Collaborative from 9 to 4 at the Civic Auditorium. And then tonight I have a note here, and I just dropped it. The Columbia River Gorge Community Information Meeting. I think that's going to be an update on the Rowena fire restoration. And coming up on Sunday, this is not a county business, but there's a candidates forum for the Democratic candidates for U.S. representative. And that'll be from 1 to 2:30 at the Columbia Senior Center.
Richard, thank you for mentioning that, Phil. Mike Wacker.
Did I say Republican candidates? I meant Democratic candidates.
Democratic candidates. Yeah,
Democratic candidates. Yeah. There are 4 or 5. And this will be a very early chance to meet all 5.
All right. And Mike Wacker?
Good morning. No updates. Just here to hear another interesting presentation.
All right. Thank you. My mouse was starting to freeze up on me for a second there. I was going into panic mode because if I don't have a mouse, man, that's a control issue. Teresa.
Hi, I'm Teresa Cummings-Weir, and I work for East Cascades Works, but I also live and work in the community. So East Cascades Works is the local workforce development board for our region.
Teresa, thank you for joining. Dave Peters.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Peters, Columbia Cascade Housing and Columbia Housing Authority. I'll be attending the housing thing that Phil mentioned, but Phil, you said 9, it actually starts at 8. I mean, it might officially start something at 9, but people are there at 8. Thanks. Karen's going to be giving a fuller update, I think the first Tuesday of December, which Karen is my boss. Thanks.
Thank you, Dave. That's good to know. And that's today, this afternoon. What day is that again?
Well, the thing is today, though, the housing, I just had it up on my computer. It's a resource thing for housing. It's in the Civic here in the Dalles from 8 to 4.
Okay.
But Phil might be right. It might be speakers or from 9 to 4. I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you, Dave and Phil. Vesta Smith.
Good morning. Couldn't get the mute button off. I am Vesta Smith, retired, just an interested citizen seeing what's new in the community.
Thank you for joining, Vesta. And Hank Sanders.
I'm a resident of Hood River and just interested in learning.
All right. Thanks for joining, Hank. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Matt Fitzpatrick, Columbia Gorge Community College pre-college program. Matt, take it away.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, I have some slides here I want to share, and I think Dan and I agreed that we are going to do questions at the end of the slides. I also have a video that I'm going to share as well that kind of illustrates one of our really popular programs, and I just don't do a great job of describing it. So we actually in this past year created a video, which I think is pretty cool. So can everyone see the slides?
Yes, indeed, Matt.
Right on. So the name of our program is the Youth Compass Program. We are located in the pre-college department at Columbia Gorge Community College. And I would define our work as more workforce development. Our grant is community-based, so it's not just for students at Columbia Gorge Community College. We actually service 5 counties Wasco, Hood River, Gilliam, Sherman, and Wheeler with this grant. But we do obviously work very closely with the college because we are co-located there. My primary office is in the Dalles, but I also have an office in Hood River. Whoa. So when I talk about our program, I like to talk about two pathways. And you know, our ultimate goal is to connect youth to education, training, and employment opportunities. And we do this in two ways, and hence the pathways. So one is education, where we work with students to help them get their GED. So a lot of high school dropouts come to our program. But secondly, we also work with high school graduates that are in the community that are looking to matriculate at a community college or a college, or maybe, you know, look to go into the trades and just need some facilitation. And then secondly, the second pathway is our internships and work placement. We do a lot of work with students trying to gauge their career interests, and then either putting them into an internship, as we call a work experience, or we work with them to connect to jobs in the community. So I don't really want to go into the weeds on this too much, the qualification. It is important to note that for a youth to qualify at the bare minimum, and I know I'm editing my slide as I speak, but we have a supplemental grant that I'll touch on, which extends the age range for our grant. So we actually work currently with youth that are 14 to 24. They have to be an Oregon resident. They have to have the right to work in the USA. And if they're 18, they have to register for selective service. And then on the right side of the slide, this relates, again, I don't want to go into the weeds. I always tell people that if you have a youth that falls within 14 to 24 and they're an Oregon resident, just have them reach out to me and I can help qualify them for the grant and provide more information. But this slide relates more to our primary grant, which we get every year. And so they have to qualify for everything on the left, as I said, at the bare minimum, and then meet one on the right side to qualify for our program. At that point, I could start working with them as an advisor instructor and provide them with services. Okay. So what do we do? Again, kind of back to that conceptual framework when I'm describing our program, the two pathways. So on the education side, we provide free GED classes and testing for our youth. And I would say our program, though it doesn't have to be, is very GED centric. And the reason being is we work closely with the GED program at Columbia Gorge Community College. Full disclosure, I was a director of that program and I'm a former GED instructor. And as you probably noticed on the prior slide, all of those students, if they're an Oregon resident and fall into that age range, because they're a high school dropout, they qualify for our program. So it's a really nice fit. So I do a lot of work recruiting out of those classrooms. And again, we can pay for their classes and testing. The GED test is $44 per test, and there's 4 tests. So that can be a barrier for a lot of our students. Secondly, I provide GED tutoring. So I actually have a lab twice a week. So I work very closely with the students in the classroom. And that's a nice perk for me because I really enjoy teaching. And it really helps me build relationships with those students. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about those students that have their GED or high school diploma. Like I mentioned that earlier, we do work with them as well. For example, a lot of students will reach out to me and they just really need some support navigating the community college system and getting connected to resources like advisors, financial aid and scholarships, and things like housing. So I do a lot of that work too, where I kind of facilitate that. It's you know, if the student doesn't have someone who's navigated a college, the systems at a college or a community college, it can be intimidating. So it's nice for them to have just a little support and just getting plugged into our resources here. And I do that on a regular basis. We also like to sprinkle in financial incentives. for youth. Youth will receive a gift card every time they pass a test. And then we also provide gift cards for those students that are in post-secondary and they're maintaining a 3.0 GPA for the first 2 terms. Okay, on to, that should be career. But the work experience, this is kind of our bread and butter. It's a really popular program. Maybe some of you have heard about our work experiences. It's like it's a paid internship, essentially. And when I do intake with youth, when I'm getting to know them, we talk a lot about, you know, future careers. We also will do assessments sometimes through the Oregon CIS, which is Career Information Systems, to kind of get an idea of careers they have in mind. Now, granted, these students are young, but what's really nice about these work experiences is they get a kind of taste of that career, and then they get to make a decision if it's something they want to commit to. In a lot of instances, these careers, they need to go back to school, and as we all know, that's an investment. What's really nice for these work experiences for the employers is the students become employees of the college, so they're covered under our insurance and liability. So that's good to keep in mind. And also the duration. We do upwards of 200 hours that the students can do at the workplace, or 3 months, or whichever comes first. And when I think about these work experiences, again, for a lot of students, it's their first job. So they're out there learning what we like to, and you probably hear a lot about this. I know Lisa's talked about this to me because she hears from all of you about building those soft skills. You know, so a lot of these positions are a combination of doing kind of light administrative tasks, doing some job shadowing. There are some work experiences where they're more hands-on, but it really depends on the context of where they're working. And the video that I have will kind of give you an idea of what these internships look like specifically within the trades. But I really would love to hear from all of you. If you have any ideas, and if you're interested in a work experience, please reach out to me directly. I tell employers that if you have a youth in mind, you know, you can refer a youth to me, and then I can find out if they qualify. A lot of times I will be working with youth and I will refer them to an employer. And the first step of that work experience is for them to reach out to you directly and to set up an interview. So we probably have a lot of questions about the work experience. We can take those at the end. I think the video again will give you a little more in-depth understanding. And then we also do resume interview and job searches. So if a student is more interested in finding a full-time job, because these paid internships are typically part-time, then we work with them to build their resume. We do mock interviews, and we also do job searches. We have a really strong relationship with the OED, and we work closely with their career advisors. So if we feel like we've reached our endpoint, we send them down to WorkSource and the Dalles, and they take it from there. They're definitely more of experts with regards to this support. And again, sprinkling in these incentives. So we do work experience evaluations with both the employer and employee at the end of the work experience. And if it is a positive one, they will get an incentive. And then also we incentivize students that go out of their way to not, if they can't do a work experience, but they go out and they find a job on their own and we're supporting them, then we provide them with an incentive in the form of a gift card as well. Okay. So this is, I like to refer to this slide as our information on, it's a supplemental grant that we have, and it's going to run through the end of next fiscal year. So we'll be able to fund this grant through the end of, let's see here, 6/30/2027. So it looks and feels just like our traditional work experience. They become an employee at the college. They're covered under insurance and liability. We pay all of their wages. What's nice about this is the youth just has to be 14 to 24 and an Oregon resident, and they qualify. So it really kind of opens up the student population we can work with in the community. It's a wonderful grant. We've had tons of successes over the years. And just for me, as someone who doesn't care for paperwork, it's so very easy to get them enrolled and working. I've had students come to me and have interest in doing maybe welding and fabrication at the community college. And within a week, they're working with the instructor there. So the turnaround is really nice. It's a really seamless intake. Okay, so I thought I would note, as you'll notice here on bullet point or number 3. So the grant language speaks to the fact that they like to see trades in certain industries preferred. That doesn't mean that we can't use this funding for work experience that falls outside of those trades in certain industries, but currently we're looking a lot at like construction, healthcare, manufacturing, and tourism. So I think right now I'm going to show the video. It's about 5 minutes long, so bear with me. I get to watch myself. Not awkward. Okay. Can you guys see me? Am I sharing the video right now?
Not
Dan?
yet, Matt.
Not yet. Okay.
We're still looking at your contact information slide.
Okay. Let's see here. Stop share. You'd think after how many years of using Zoom? My defense, I don't use it on a regular basis anymore. Okay, I'm going to share this. Look at my face. Oh no.
There
Can
you
see-
go.
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful. Okay.
All right.
Let's see if you guys can.
I recognize that guy.
Can
There
you
we
hear
go.
it, Dan?
It's working. We can't hear it. No, we don't have
Can't
audio.
hear
At
it?
least I don't.
Okay. Let's see here.
Matt, you might have to reshare, and in the lower left-hand corner, there's a box to check in the sharing screen that'll give you audio.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
Share sound. Staring at me right in the face.
Oh, I'm going to remember that one.
That's. Okay.
We're in the Youth Compass program at Columbia Gorge Community College. The Youth Compass program helps students that are aged 14 to 24 and are residents of the state of Oregon. The program helps students with both their educational and career goals. The Work Experience program provides hands-on experience that aligns occupations with youth's career interests.
My name is Robert Wells Clark. I'm the lead advanced manufacturing and fabrication instructor here at Columbia Gorge Community College. These work experiences are valuable for a huge number of ways. They're firstly valuable to us at the college because we get an opportunity to have a broader impact on our local community, as well as show students careers that they might not be able to experience within their own high school or wherever they're coming to us from, sometimes from youth programs as well. And I think it's a really big deal to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to choose a career that suits them or fits them well.
The work experience program helped me choose a career really by just showing opportunity, like showing how real world application in the field looks like. It gives you the opportunity to see all the different paths you can take. You know, you're getting actual experience in a practical application.
Almost everything that comes through the Regional Skills Center here is in some way going out into the community as a real life, real thing. It's not just a practice that we're going to throw in the scrap. And what that means for our work experience students is that when they participate in that program, they're doing real world work for real world people that has a huge economic impact on our community and develops a really important connection for them later, so that when they are ready to enter the workforce, they already know some of the people that they need to call to try to get a job.
Day one, Clark had us start on welding. That was my very first time welding. You come over and like critique it a little bit and say, hey, I think you could do better with this if you tried this, or like try this other thing. and then soon after, you're jumping on projects with people.
I'd say the work experience program definitely helped set me up, for my career to get moving in the right direction, to get connected with the right people, kind of find what I love about a very broad industry.
Work experiences develop soft skills, things like showing up on time, communication, teamwork, and independence.
My name is Scott Boudreau, and I am the lead carpenter at Sager Design Build. Communication is huge for us because we're oftentimes working with 4 to 6 people at a time, and sometimes there's a guy cutting on the ground, communicating to somebody on top of a roof, being comfortable with starting your own task, not being asked to maybe do something that you already know how to do, anticipating the next step in a project. It's pretty rewarding to see when they do accomplish that and they just jump right into the next thing, because that's what makes a building go up efficiently. I think it's a great way to get the word out and let them know that it is an option and you can come and work with some friendly guys on site, hopefully. And these guys are extremely helpful, and they really have been since day one.
I would have never thought that in my high school career, I would be able to do construction while I was still in school. I always thought that if I wanted to do construction or any type of job that's like this serious, and I would have to do it always after. At the beginning, I was honestly nervous and shy. I didn't even want to talk to some of these guys. And then we just started talking more, and I started learning more, and the whole work environment is just awesome. I definitely could have not learned anything that I've learned here in school. Yeah, we have a woodshop class, but they teach you nothing compared to this. This is real hands-on, real life stuff, and you're not gonna learn this unless you ever take this opportunity.
This work experience helped me make a decision in choosing a career. I'm hoping to still go to college, but after college, I'm hoping to continue in trades. We learned everything from framing all the way up to sheeting a roof and setting windows. We learned how to square walls, lay out walls, and do everything in between. We framed a lot of these inside walls when I got here. It was just dirt for 2.5 weeks ago, and now it's got concrete pillars and walls and roof and trusses, and the roof is sheeted. Being an 18-year-old and working on a house this big and this professional is super cool.
All right.
Cool video, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't realize how long a video like that. I had a lot of help from a gentleman, Michael Peterson, and that took about a year. He laughed when I told him I wanted to do a video, and told him I just needed a couple minutes. We should be able to get that done in a week, right? He just not all really naive about that whole process, but yeah, it helps I think it really helps illustrate the program. Can you guys see the slide?
Yeah, with your contact information now, Matt.
Yeah, so any referrals that you have education, also internship referrals, you could send to me. Mike Moreno is the director, so he's not as much in the trenches. So if you have any questions related to referrals, any questions about potential work experience, you can email me or call me at that number. And I wanted to share one more thing. It's a program that we're building, and then I was going to open it up to questions. So let's see here. Can you guys see this career exploration?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Go ahead.
Wonderful. So we are building out a program. It's called the Passport Program. I like to refer to it, as Work Experience Light. And we're working currently with 3 industries, construction, healthcare, and hospitality. And we hope to roll out. We're piloting the program this year. We're still looking for employers. And I wanted to kind of give you an idea of an outline of the program itself and then your responsibilities. And of course, we can do follow-ups. So instead of a work experience where students are actually working, it's really hands-on and they're doing 10 to 20 hours a week. This one is a lot lighter. So they're doing 2 to 4 hours a week. And, you know, these are some activities that the program in Bend, so this program started a few years back in Bend, and it's been really successful. And these are some of the activities that the youth do on site, things, and it's completely up to you if you join the program. We're really we're welcoming your insight. So tours of the shops or job site, you know, chatting with employees in different roles. They do have some hands-on tasks. And then things like Q&A sessions guided by student worksheets. So we have actually student worksheets that we build out. So a lot of kind of like debriefing, talking about the actual jobs, and you know, talking to people that work there. And we provide on our end, Youth Compass programs, the coordination. So recruiting the students, getting them prepped, you know, building those expectations, transportation, and then staff being on site. And then along with that, we'd help out with developing the site visit. And we also have career exploration worksheets, so things they can work on after the experience. And then you would get some recognition through newsletters and social media. And our hope is that this will be a program that we will have every year. And we think about it as a kind of a stepping stone to a work experience. So students would do more of the job shadowing. And if they're really interested, we could then enroll them in a work experience where they're actually doing more hands-on and more hours on the job site. We're not saying it's mandatory, but that's something we've talked about. And I think that's a good idea. So yeah, why it matters, you know, pretty straightforward. I could send out Dan these marketing pieces for each industry. And yeah, again, if you have any questions about the program, if you want to partner with us, please reach out. And that's my presentation. Yeah, if you have any questions, I've got 15 minutes before I have to drop my kids off.
Do we have questions for Matt? Matt, that's a good presentation, all this information. Question?
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
I'll question up first here. Thanks. I remember 8th grade into junior high took shop class, and I still can't believe it. I was arc welding in 8th grade. That was fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. The question is, do any of the trade work job programs work in the agricultural area?
You know, we actually haven't, Phil. We haven't connected with anyone to do a work experience, but I would love to. I mean, it makes sense, you know, where we live. But yeah, if you have any ideas or any connections, or I would love to talk to you about that and building it out.
I would just start with the cherry industry or Columbia producers, Mid-Columbia MCP, Mid-Columbia producers to get into the wheat area.
Okay.
I also used to help students pass GEDs when I was teaching at juvenile detention, and the test got harder. Has it changed again?
So it was modified in 2010, and when it was modified then, the math got more difficult. So it's 70% algebra. And that's really, as an instructor, that's the stumbling blocks, is when they start working with variables, you know, things that they can't really relate to on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, I think overall the test, passing the GED test is not easy by any means.
Yeah.
Matt, I'd have a question on that point. Do you offer Spanish language GED?
Well, we did. We actually, when I was director there of the GED and ESWL program, we received funding, and we had a Spanish GED program for 2 years. Unfortunately, the funding ran out, and we don't have a Spanish GED program. Fortunately, we have a instructor in our GED department that's bilingual, and she had offered to teach the GED math in English and Spanish, which is quite a feat for an instructor.
Yeah.
So she's been doing that this fall because there's such a demand for that in our area. I was really saddened that we weren't able to continue that program, but that's just how it is. But yeah, that's an option for those students that
You're
want to do this
fortunate to have an
MASH GD.
instructor willing to take that on. That's great.
Oh yeah, she's wonderful, very dynamic.
Okay. The passport programs again were construction, healthcare, and tourism. Was that third one?
Yep.
Okay.
Tourism, yeah.
All right. Another question I would have for Matt. Speaking of continuity of programs, are you taking, or maybe it's too soon to know yet? Do you have any impact from the federal funding situation?
I would defer to my colleague at EC Works, Teresa, but I can say that it's still there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't know. I can't say I know. I think it sounds like the funding, so it originates with the Department of Labor, this grant, and it's a federal grant, and it seems like Congress has had opportunities to change the status quo of the grant that I'm working under, and they've just kind of kicked the can down the road. So for good or for bad, I mean, we still have, funding to do things like work experiences and provide those incentives, but you just don't know. Yeah. Things could change. I imagine sometime in the spring, we'll have a better idea of what next year looks like for us on our fiscal year, which starts July 1st.
Teresa, not to put you on the spot, but do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah.
So the primary funding source for the programs are the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which Matt was talking about through the Department of Labor. So as of right now, during the government shutdown, they are still processing grant drawdowns. So for right now, it's looking very good. The other great thing about the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is that as long as Congress is still appropriating funds to it, then we still have a program. So while the program is up for renewal, it is as long as we're still getting funding appropriated to it, then we're good. So
So we can assist by contacting members of Congress and encouraging them to continue to support this program.
Yep. Every year it seems like they try to change it in some way or defund parts of it. And then it, kind of goes through the right siding, and then everything is kind of back to normal. The last time the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act had to, or was upped, or I can't think of the word right now off the top of my head, but reauthorized. It took about 10 years. So it was it can be a long process. Right now, I believe it started going through the process, I believe, in 2022. So we're only a few years into possibly a 10-year process of reauthorizing. But again, as long as Congress still appropriates money, then we're good to go with our program. And luckily, this is bipartisan for the most part. So everybody believes that we should support our citizens in getting retrained or re-engaged in school and other activities.
There's a long history with this program, and so we do know there's long-standing support going back through the years. CETA, Comprehensive Education Training Act, JTPA, and then WIOA. I probably am missing one or two iterations along the way there, but we know the support is there, so let's keep up the good work. Other questions for Matt? Teresa too, for that matter. Matt, I know you need to get your kids off to daycare, childcare, I should say.
Yeah.
Other information to impart? Oh, Matt, please put your contact information in the chat box. I don't want to forget that.
Yeah. No problem. You can reach me on my work cell too. So this is my email. Thank you, Trish. I'll reach back out to you. Got that note, and then my cell. God knows the youth of today do not use email.
How do you
They look at me
communicate?
like I'm crazy when I ask them if they check their inbox.
Okay, there's a really good question that covers a lot of territory. How do you communicate when people don't like to use email? Cell phone,
Yep. I
social
do
media,
text.
what do you do?
It's texting predominantly. Now that assumes they're communicating well, Dan.
Yeah, well, I know.
Because I usually know I don't have like a formula and I haven't done any data analysis, but I can usually tell within a week of if a youth is communicating well, if they're going to be successful. But to answer your question, it's like 90% texting with students. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's true for my daughters, and they're in their 30s.
Yep. You get some text on the weekend, but what can you do?
All right.
Yeah. Well, good to meet everybody. Thanks for letting me come out, and I'll see you all around. Thanks, Dan.
Well, thanks, Mike.
Matt,
Bye.
thank you so much for the presentation.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Everyone, before we wrap up, first off, we had a couple of folks join in a little bit late here, so I want to give you the opportunity for any organizational updates. Corliss, I think you joined us along the way.
Yes, I did. Sorry. I don't have any updates. I'm with the library and the senior center and Habitat for Humanity and also the College Foundation.
Right. Thank you for joining, Corliss. And Mike Wacker.
Nothing to say.
All right.
Thanks.
So I'll add my hat as a very, very new board member of One Community Health. One Community Health is starting a foundation, and I think that'll be an important tool to assist that organization. So stay tuned for more. On the chamber side, I do have a few announcements. Remember the Veterans Parade coming up November 11th, 11 a.m. Registration deadline is today. Contact the chamber. We have the 36th annual Starlight Parade starting at 6 p.m. day after Thanksgiving, the 28th. Go ahead and contact the chamber for parade registration. At the Mid-Columbia Senior Center, November 7th, we have the Senior Zingers and a pop rock show band starting at 6 o'clock, free admission. Donations benefit the Senior Center. And Ascent the Ages is a fundraiser for the Civic Auditorium. Benefit Saturday, November 8th, 5:30 social, 6:30 dinner. Tickets are online at thedallascivic.com. Check out the chamber website for a whole lot of other stuff that's going on. Do we have any other updates around the table? If not, I'm going to give folks back another, golly, 20 minutes of your morning. All right. I hope the week is going well. We'll see everybody next Thursday. All right, folks.
Thank you.
Close it up early.
Take care.
Take care.